told your friend you're not okay.
That night, the sky above the Ararang concert venue looked like a black canvas daubed with fiery red light. The packed audience looked like a sea of living stars, the glitter of light sticks and the emotive screams echoing through the chilly air. As the music began to rise and the giant screen displayed the silhouette of a performer with square shoulders and confident movements, everyone knew the moment they had been waiting for had finally arrived. He strode to the center of the stage with an almost inhuman intensity. His damp black hair clung slightly to his forehead, giving him a wild yet elegant impression. As the red light, pulsating like a giant heartbeat, illuminated his face, the atmosphere instantly changed. It was as if the entire stage bowed to his presence. The red microphone in his hand gleamed sharply, like an extension of his own emotions. As he began to sing, his low, ethereal voice rippled through the arena, enveloping the audience in an atmosphere hard to describe. There was assertiveness, there was longing, there was passion, and there was serenity, all fused into an energy that transfixed everyone. Every time he brought the microphone to his lips, it was as if the world stopped spinning to listen. Her piercing gaze softened occasionally, leaving the impression that she wasn't just performing, she was telling a story that came from deep within. Her performance that night was like the climax of a long story that even her fans didn't yet know the true ending to. The elegant black dress that clung to her body made her look like the heroine of a major film entering a pivotal scene. Every small movement, a faint smile, a sigh, the way she looked at the camera, was in the spotlight and succeeded in drawing the audience even more into her charm. And when the final song ended with a long, resounding note, the audience's voice erupted like a flash of water. Screams, nicknames, cheers, all blended into one. She bowed, smiled faintly, said a few brief words, and then stepped off the stage. But behind that smile, no one knew that a much bigger moment awaited her. As she entered the backstage hallway, which was much quieter, filled only with the sound of the crew's footsteps and the fading beat of the music, her phone vibrated. The vibration was brief, but enough to make her stop. She reached for it from her pocket. A notification popped up on the screen that made her freeze. A new message. From the agency. Sent directly from the highest levels of management. It wasn't long, but the tone was different. There was something about that short sentence that made my chest feel heavy. It wasn't a threat, it wasn't a rule, it wasn't just a good job. It felt like a code. Like a doorway to something being carefully prepared. And precisely because the message was so brief, so quiet yet so powerful, it became all the more disturbing. Without any leaks, without any staff members making a sound, rumors about the message spread naturally. Perhaps someone saw her expression change. Perhaps someone noticed her sudden slowing of steps. Perhaps someone overheard a small whisper from the technical staff. Who knows where it came from? But the news began to spread beyond the venue like the wind carrying a big secret. On social media, everything changed in a matter of minutes. Fans who had been talking about her visuals, her vocals, her stunning performance suddenly shifted their focus to the rumor. What was the message about? Why was it sent right after the concert? Is this a sign of a new project? Has there been a big plan in store all this time? These questions flooded the trending topics. It didn't stop there, and industry analyst accounts began to chime in. Several entertainment journalists noted that a personal message from the highest levels of management after a performance as big as ARIRANG was unusual. Some mentioned the possibility of a major international collaboration, others speculated about a new musical project, and even theories about a career move that could shake up the industry. But fans noticed something more subtle. Her aura on stage, the way she interacted with the camera, the slightly different tone of voice, all seemed like small clues that she already knew something before the concert. Perhaps the message wasn't the beginning, but rather the continuation of something long kept secret. Meanwhile, her image from the stage, her piercing gaze, the red microphone pressed to her lips, her wet black hair reflecting the light, became a symbol of mystery itself. Each photo that circulated seemed to hold a story behind her eyes. A story of burdens, ambitions, and something she couldn't yet share with the world. After receiving the mysterious message, the performer's steps became a little heavier than usual. Although outwardly calm, there was something in his eyes that betrayed his mind working rapidly, trying to decipher the meaning of the brief words sent by top management. The usually bustling backstage hallway felt much quieter that night, as if the entire concert hall was holding its breath, waiting for what would happen next. He continued toward the break room, passing staff members busy tidying up equipment and shouting instructions to one another. Although everyone seemed focused on their respective tasks, some couldn't help but glance his way. They could sense the change in atmosphere. Something seemed different, something in the lines of his face, perhaps the way he held his phone, or the blank look that occasionally appeared in his eyes. Once he reached his room, he closed the door gently and leaned against the wall for a moment. The yellow light falling from the ceiling cast a long shadow on the floor. The cheers from the audience outside faded, giving way to a deeper silence. He opened his phone again, reading the message once more, as if hoping it would change or offer some hidden clue he hadn't seen before. But the message remained the same. Still brief. Still full of meaning. Still like a puzzle polished with the precision of a strategist. Several minutes passed without him realizing it. A soft knock sounded at the door. A manager entered, offered him a drink of water, and asked if he was okay. He nodded, though his heart was filled with questions that weren't easily answered. After his manager left, he looked back into the large mirror in the room. His face was still covered in sweat from the stage, his hair a mess, but there was something deeper radiating from the expression imprinted on it that night. A mix of curiosity, caution, and a subtle, budding determination. He knew the message couldn't be ignored. There was something he needed to face, something that might significantly alter the course of his career. Outside the room, the commotion continued. The media began to blow up rumors about the mysterious message. Major K-pop accounts were already posting bold headlines. Agency's secret message shocks fans. What's next after ARIRANG? A big surprise is being prepared. Fans began to create theory after theory, piecing together every fragile clue they found to form a bigger picture based entirely on their intuition and love for the artist. Some fans believed the message was related to a large-scale global project long rumored in the industry. Others speculated that management was preparing a surprise related to the return of several members or the release of a major work that would require him to play a leading role. There were also more sentimental theories, that the message was a personal invitation to a long-kept secret, emotional collaboration, something that touched on the deepest part of his artistry. Meanwhile, the Korean music industry was also in motion. Producers, journalists, and market observers began to compile their analyses. Some suggested that ARIRANG's concert was more than just a performance, it was a test stage, a major barometer to gauge public response before announcing his next move. The artist's mature and composed appearance was seen as a sign that she was ready to enter a higher and more complex phase of her career. After some contemplation, she finally put away her phone and took a deep breath. Her eyes stared blankly at the door, but her mind was racing. She knew that the life of a public figure was always full of secrets, but this time it felt different. This was no small secret. This was something with major consequences. For herself, for her colleagues, for her loyal fans. She sat slowly on the lounge chair in the room, feeling the weight of her body leaning against it tiredly, but her mind remained alert. Light from outside shone faintly through the gap in the door, creating a thin line dividing the room as if marking the difference between past and future. In that silence, she realized one thing. Whatever the message meant, she had no choice but to face it. The world had turned on her, brighter than ever, and every step she took now had far greater significance. Unbeknownst to her, the outside world was in an uproar. Fans were making analysis videos, influencers were discussing their theories, and international media were starting to pick up on the news. The performer's name has once again soared onto the global trending list, this time not just for her looks, but for the mystery surrounding her next move.